This is a selfie seeker deep dive. Picture yourself on a Tuesday morning. You know those days. Everything's flowing effortlessly. You're feeling good. Maybe your favorite song is playing softly. You've left home with time to spare, feeling kind of grateful for this moment of peace before the day begins. You pull into the car park at work, already mentally organizing your priorities. That's when you see it. Someone is parked across two spaces, taking the spot you always use, the one that makes you feel settled and ready. But it's more than that. Their car is expensive, pristine, parked with such, I don't know, casual entitlement that something hot and immediate flares in your chest.
The visceral reaction.
I mean, it doesn't matter, you whisper to yourself, circling to find another space. It's just a parking spot. But your hands have tightened on the steering wheel. Your shoulders have pulled up toward your ears. There's a burning sensation behind your breastbone that you recognize but maybe don't want to acknowledge.
That familiar visitor.
Exactly. And here's the question we want to explore today. What if this feeling isn't a disruption at all? What if it's actually trying to help you?
That shift in perspective is, well, it's huge, isn't it? Moving from seeing emotion as an obstacle to seeing it as potentially a guide.
It really is. We've explored the pathway to sovereignty in previous episodes, how life kind of refuses to let us sleepwalk through collapse and awakening, pushing us towards something more authentic.
That journey Helmediba outlines so well.
Precisely. And today we're diving deeper into one of the most, intimate aspects of this journey, learning to listen to our emotions, seeing them as faithful messengers rather than, problems to overcome.
And this exploration is grounded in the article When Feelings Knock, listening to the messages of emotion, which itself is inspired by Helen's framework.
Right. And for anyone new listening, just a quick reminder, we've talked about the 6 thresholds of sovereignty before. It's a map of sorts for this journey.
It really is. Starting with survival, which is often about those immediate reactions like the parking lot scenario.
Yeah.
Just trying to feel safe, manage threats.
Then moving into stability, where we try to create order, control, manage the chaos, maybe lots of lists, maybe rigid routines.
Then self-awareness, which is where we start looking inwards, understanding our patterns, our triggers, what's really going on inside.
Followed by integrity. That's about aligning how we live with what we truly value, walking our talk.
Then wholeness, which is about integrating all parts of ourselves, the light, the shadow, the messy bits we might prefer to hide, accepting the whole package.
And finally, freedom. Living authentically, unburdened by those old patterns, responding consciously rather than reacting.
Exactly. And these thresholds provide such a powerful lens for understanding how we relate to our emotions as we grow.
It's so true, because emotions, they can feel like tricky territory, can't they? We get so many messages growing up.
Oh, definitely. The cultural conditioning is intense.
Like big boys don't cry, or nice girls don't get angry. You hear that stuff and it sinks in.
It really does. It teaches us, often unconsciously, to suppress certain feelings or maybe chase others, like happiness, relentlessly.
Yeah.
It makes it incredibly hard to just welcome whatever shows up, especially difficult ones like anger or sadness.
Yeah, we end up either stuffing them down or getting completely swept away by them.
Right. Those seem like the main 2 options we're usually given. But Helen's framework and this idea of emotions as messengers suggests a third way.
Which is?
Meeting them with curiosity. Instead of automatically resisting or judging the feeling, asking, what's this about? What's the message here?
Meeting anger with curiosity, that sounds challenging.
It can be, absolutely, especially at first. But the core idea is that even the difficult emotions aren't inherently bad or wrong. They aren't there to punish us. They have a purpose. They're trying to guide us towards something important.
So even things like intense anger or deep sadness have a fundamentally benevolent intention.
That's the perspective, yes. Beneath the intensity, there's usually a protective function or a signal about an unmet need or a boundary that's been crossed.
Okay, let's make this more concrete. You mentioned Gary and Lucy before. How do their stories illustrate this?
Great examples. Let's start with Gary. He's smart, super dedicated, always does his homework for meetings, really knows his stuff.
Okay.
But consistently, his colleagues tend to talk over him, interrupt his ideas, maybe take credit for them sometimes.
Oh, that sounds frustrating.
Extremely. And when this happens, Gary feels this familiar heat rising in his chest. It builds, and sometimes it erupts. He might make a sharp comment or raise his voice in a way that startles everyone, including himself.
Right. The classic anger issues label might pop up there.
Exactly. Now contrast that with Lucy. She's described as deeply caring, incredibly reliable, the person everyone counts on.
Sounds lovely.
She is. But the issue is she finds herself constantly saying yes to requests, taking on extra work, helping out, being there even when every fiber of her being is screaming no.
The people pleaser pattern.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the result for her isn't an explosion, but an implosion. Kind of bitter resentment settles deep inside her. A feeling of being used, maybe, or unseen.
So traditionally we'd say Gary has anger issues, Lucy has boundary problems, easy labels.
Right. But what if we pause before applying those labels? What if we looked at their emotions through this different lens? Not as problems to be fixed, but as, well, as loyal companions trying to deliver vital messages they desperately need to hear.
Loyal companions. I really like that metaphor. It shifts things, doesn't it?
It does. It moves away from pathologizing the emotion itself.
Let's actually try a little practice right now just to feel into this idea. If you're listening and you can, maybe place one hand on your chest and one on your belly.
Yeah, just settling in.
Yeah. And just take 3 slow, deep breaths with us, feeling the breath move under your hands, maybe feeling your feet on the ground, just noticing that contact.
Grounding yourself.
Okay. Now let's play with this metaphor. Imagine your emotions aren't intruders crashing the party. Imagine they are like loyal dogs. Sometimes, sure, they bark loudly, demanding immediate attention. They can be disruptive.
Like Gary's anger.
Exactly. Other times, they might just sit quietly at your feet, patient but persistent. Maybe you feel them as a background hum or a quiet weight. Their brown eyes are fixed on yours with this unwavering devotion.
Waiting to be noticed.
Yes. This faithful companion, this loyal dog, isn't here to disturb your peace fundamentally. It returns again and again because it carries something you need to see. It arrives because it holds a message that has been waiting, perhaps for a very long time, for your attention.
So applying that, when Gary's anger erupts in that conference room, when he snaps after being interrupted again, that's his loyal dog, maybe one that's been sitting patiently trying softer signals for ages.
And finally just barks
Yeah.
really loudly.
Yes. Barking urgently, fiercely, trying to show him the wound of not being valued, maybe the deeper fear underneath. I'm invisible. My contribution doesn't matter.
Wow. Okay. And Lucy, her quiet resentment, that feeling in her stomach.
That's her faithful companion, maybe pacing restlessly, settling heavily inside her each time she betrays her own limits, each time she says yes when she means no.
Protecting what?
Protecting her right to exist as a whole person, protecting her energy, her time, her own needs, which are just as valid as everyone else's. Her companion is saying, hey, you matter too. Your no is important.
This shift, seeing the emotion as a protector, a messenger, it opens up a different kind of conversation with ourselves, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It allows us to ask that crucial question, what we can call the messenger's pause. Instead of reacting or suppressing, we pause and ask gently. What is this feeling trying to protect? What boundary needs attention? What truth wants to be spoken?
And it's not just anger or resentment. All emotions can be seen this way, right? Like different breeds of loyal dogs with different messages.
Exactly. They each have their unique signature, their specific way of trying to help. Anger, as we saw with Gary, often barks insistently. It's like a guardian at the gate, alerting us to boundary crossings, defending our sense of worth or fairness, saying, pay attention, something important being violated or ignored here.
Okay. What about sadness?
Sadness. Maybe sadness is more like a quiet, gentle dog that just sits beside you, leaning against your leg. It's asking you to pause, to honor something. Loss, grief, maybe a deep longing that hasn't been acknowledged. It's a call for tenderness, for self-compassion.
And fear. That often feels like the opposite of helpful.
Fear can be tricky. Imagine it like an alert watchdog, pacing nervously. Its job is to protect us from harm. Sometimes that harm is real external danger, but very often, especially in modern life, it's protecting us from the perceived danger of vulnerability, of stepping outside our comfort zone, of growth.
So the fear could be saying, careful, real danger, or it could be saying, careful, you might grow.
Exactly. And discerning that difference is part of the practice.
Yeah.
It asks us, are you truly unsafe? Or is this just the familiar discomfort of stretching yourself?
What about the positive emotions? Joy.
Oh, joy. Maybe joy is like an enthusiastic golden retriever bounding towards us, tail wagging furiously, maybe dropping a metaphorical ball at our feet.
Yeah.
It's pointing directly towards what brings us alive, what nourishes our soul, what aligns with our deepest values. It's a clear affirmation. Yes, More of this, please. This is good for you.
And even shame, that feels like the hardest one to see as a loyal companion.
Shame is tough. It often makes us want to hide. Imagine it maybe curling up small, whimpering, avoiding eye contact. It feels awful, but its underlying message, often buried deep, is usually about our profound need for connection and belonging. It's signaling a perceived break in connection, guiding us, sometimes awkwardly, back towards seeking compassion, acceptance, and reintegration with our pack, our community, or even just with ourselves. It's whimpering for understanding.
That's a really compassionate way to look at shame. Okay, so let's trace Gary's journey more closely through those 6 thresholds. Seeing how his anger, his loyal companion, guided him, where did he start?
He started, like many of us do when triggered, in survival. That eruption in the meeting, when Sarah interrupted him and basically suggested his idea as her own.
Right.
His anger just exploded. His loyal companion was barking fiercely, not necessarily at Sarah, though felt that way, but for him. Trying desperately to make him visible, to show him the deeper fear. I am invisible. I don't matter.
He felt powerful for a fleeting moment, perhaps, but it was raw, reactive power, a survival response.
And the fallout.
The inevitable shame spiral the next morning, which pushed him into the stability stage. His attempt to regain control wasn't about understanding the anger yet. It was about managing the fallout and preventing future eruptions.
How did he do that? Overcompensation. He started preparing even more meticulously for meetings, creating excessively detailed presentations, being overly polite, maybe trying to micromanage discussions to ensure he got his points across, trying to control the external environment.
Sounds exhausting.
It was. But what's fascinating is that during this period of frantic control, his body almost accidentally stumbled upon a self-regulation technique. He noticed that when he felt the heat rising, if he pressed his tongue gently to the roof of his mouth and just counted silently to 5, it gave him a tiny space. It interrupted the immediate surge. It didn't fix the underlying issue, but it transformed that explosive energy just enough to give him a moment of clarity. A stability tool emerged from the chaos.
That's really interesting, a somatic anchor. So when did the real shift, the understanding, begin?
That came in the self-awareness stage. It was sparked by his mentor, James. After witnessing another near eruption, James didn't criticize Gary. He gently asked him, Gary, why do you feel you must fight so hard to be heard?
Wow, that's a powerful question.
It cracked Gary open. It shifted the focus from controlling his anger to understanding the need behind the anger. He started to actually notice the anger arriving, not just when it exploded, but the earlier signs, the heat, the clenched jaw, the rising tone in his own voice.
He started recognizing his companion's approach.
Exactly. And the key insight was realizing this anger isn't a character flaw I need to suppress. It's my loyal guardian. It's desperately trying to tell me about my deep, unmet need to be valued, to feel like my contributions matter. That was the turning point.
So with that awareness, how did his actions change? That sounds like the integrity stage.
Precisely. Armed with this new understanding, he moved into integrity. He stopped trying to just control the anger and started working with it. He practiced new ways to express the need his anger was highlighting.
Like what?
He developed a simple phrase he could use in meetings. Something like, excuse me, I need space to finish my thought before we move on. Or, that's an interesting point, and I'd like to circle back to what I was saying.
Clear, direct, non-aggressive.
Exactly. He found that stating his needs clearly, calmly, actually cultivated respect far more effectively than either suppression or eruption. When he felt his loyal companion stir that familiar heat pause, use his tongue to roof of mouth anchor, take a breath, and speak his truth.
And what happened internally?
He described feeling his inner companion kind of settle. The frantic barking subsided. It was still there, watchful, but now walking beside him in quiet companionship. He learned he could claim his space without burning everything down.
That's huge progress. What about wholeness?
In wholeness, he started experiencing the external shifts too. Colleagues genuinely began listening more, valuing his input. The dynamic changed because he had changed his relationship with his own need to be valued. He realized his anger hadn't been trying to sabotage him. It had been calling him home to recognize his own worth, independent of others' validation.
But you mentioned it wasn't a straight line.
Never is it? Integration involves embracing the messiness. Weeks into feeling pretty good about his progress, he found himself snapping impatiently at a junior colleague who asked a simple question.
Oh no! Old pattern flare-up.
Exactly. The old shame rushed back instantly. But here's the difference in wholeness. He noticed. He felt the heat, recognized the sharp tone, saw the look on his colleague's face. He felt his loyal companion barking frantically again, maybe signaling danger. You messed up.
And what did he do?
He paused, took a breath, and then he did something new. He went back to the colleague and apologized, sincerely. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm having a hard day, and that was unfair of me. Your question was perfectly valid."
Owning it, repairing the connection.
Yes, acknowledging the impact, taking responsibility without collapsing into shame. The messiness was still there, but he now had a conscious, compassionate way through it rather than being stuck in it. That's wholeness.
And freedom.
Freedom, for Gary, meant that gratitude largely replaced the shame he used to feel about his anger. He came to genuinely trust his anger as an ally, an old friend. He knows its signals now. It alerts him when his boundaries need attention or when his voice needs to be heard clearly. It doesn't rule him, but it reliably guides him. He can show up more fully as himself, speaking his truth with clarity and confidence, knowing this powerful part of him is on his side.
That's a remarkable transformation. Let's turn to Lucy now. Her journey started differently, didn't it? More inward.
Very much so. Remember her at the kitchen sink, agreeing to yet another request while feeling that familiar knot of resentment tighten in her stomach. That was Lucy in survival. It wasn't an outward explosion like Gary's, but an implosion.
Her loyal companion wasn't barking loudly.
No, it was more like settling heavily, growing restless inside her. A feeling of betrayal, self-betrayal, each time she negated her own needs to keep the peace or be seen as nice and reliable.
What did stability look like for her? If she wasn't managing explosions, what was she managing?
Exhaustion. Deep, bone-weary exhaustion became her constant companion. Her stability stage was about trying to manage this depletion. How? Through control, again, but internal control. Endless to-do lists, rigid schedules, trying to perfectly manage her time and energy to just keep functioning, hoping structure would somehow silence the inner unrest.
Does she have a specific practice, like Gary's tongue on the roof of the mouth?
She did, though it was different. During the stability phase, feeling overwhelmed but not yet understanding why, she started a very simple ritual. Each evening, she'd take just 2 minutes to write 3 lines in a small notebook.
What were the lines?
Something like, 1, today I said yes when I meant no about specific thing. 2, today I felt anger, resentment when specific situation. 3, tomorrow I will try to one tiny different action, like pausing before answering.
Just noticing. No big changes yet.
Exactly. It wasn't about fixing anything immediately. It was just about bringing the pattern out of the shadows and onto the page. This tiny ritual, over time, became a crucial tool for uncovering the sheer frequency of her self-betrayal. It built the foundation for self-awareness.
And how did that self-awareness dawn for her? Was there a catalyst?
Yes, similar to Gary's mentor, it came through a friend. Her close friend, Maya, noticing Lucy's constant fatigue and underlying irritability, gently asked her one day, "Lucy, what are you not saying?"
Another powerful question.
Like a stone dropped into a still pond. It created ripples. That question echoed. Lucy started connecting the dots between her resentment, her exhaustion, and all the unspoken no's. She began to see her quiet anger, her companion's restlessness, not as selfishness or being difficult, but as a protector.
Protecting what, specifically for her?
Protecting her right to simply exist as a whole person with valid needs, limits, and desires. Her loyal companion wasn't just resentful, it was nudging her persistently to acknowledge her own existence, her own energy, her own worth.
So with that awareness, she moves into integrity. How did she start aligning her actions with this newfound understanding? Saying no must have felt terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. Integrity for Lucy wasn't about grand gestures. It started small, incredibly small, maybe declining a non-urgent task at work by saying, "I can't get to that today, but I can look at it tomorrow." Or when asked for an immediate decision, saying, "Can I take a moment to think about that and get back to you?"
Buying herself space.
Exactly, creating tiny pauses. The big test came when a neighbor asked her to water their plants for 2 weeks while they were away. A classic Lucy yes situation.
What happened?
She felt the familiar tightness in her stomach, the automatic, of course, rising to her lips. But she also felt her loyal companion shift inside her, almost hopefully. This time, drawing on her awareness, she paused, took a breath, and then, heart pounding, she said, clearly but kindly, "I'm sorry, I won't be able to do that this time."
Wow, her first conscious no, maybe.
Quite possibly. She described feeling a wave of terror. What would the neighbor think? Immediately followed by an unexpected surge of liberation. A lightness. She said she could almost feel her loyal companion inside her, giving a little tail wag.
I love that image. How did this evolve into wholeness for her?
Wholeness involved deepening this practice and integrating it more fully into her life and relationships. She developed her own pause practice. When faced with a request, she learned to tune into her body first.
How did she use her body as a guide?
She noticed that a no often felt like a distinct tightness in her stomach or throat. A yes, a genuine yes, felt more like relaxed, easy breathing, a sense of openness. Her body became her compass.
Using her internal signals.
Yes, and she started trusting those signals more. Crucially, she also started communicating her boundaries more clearly with those closest to her, like her partner. And she found, perhaps surprisingly, that her partner responded with respect, not rejection. This helped her realize that true intimacy, true love, doesn't require constant self-sacrifice. It actually flourishes when boundaries are clear and respected. Her loyal companion settled, becoming a quiet, grounding presence.
Was her path smooth in wholeness?
Like Gary's, not at all. Integration isn't perfection. Some days, trying to hold her ground, her no would come out harsher than intended, a snap fueled by years of suppressed frustration. Other days, she'd slip back into old habits, saying yes automatically, and then feeling that familiar resentment creep back in. But the difference was the noticing, and her friend Maya's reassurance was key here. Maya would remind her, it's okay. The practice isn't about never slipping up. It's about noticing sooner each time and being kinder to yourself when you do.
That self-compassion piece is so important. And finally, freedom for Lucy.
Freedom for Lucy meant fully embracing her anger, her resentment, not as negative traits, but as trusted friends, as an internal guidance system that reliably alerts her when her boundaries need tending. Gratitude replaced the bitterness. She trusts her voice now, navigates her relationships with more truth and ease, knowing she can care for others and herself. Her loyal companion walks faithfully beside her, no longer restless, but a source of strength.
Both stories show such a profound shift in relationship with difficult emotions. Thank you for walking us through those so clearly.
It really highlights how these thresholds aren't just abstract concepts, but lived experiences, often guided by the very feelings we try to avoid.
Absolutely. Okay, let's bring this home for everyone listening. Let's do another little interactive practice. Take a moment now to reflect on a recent strong feeling that visited you. Maybe anger, sadness, fear, frustration, anything that felt potent.
Just bring one to mind gently.
And see if you can feel, just remember or imagine where it showed up in your body. Don't judge it, just notice. Was it heat, like Gary's anger, tension in your jaw or shoulders? Or maybe a heaviness in your chest, like sadness often brings, a fluttering in your stomach, like fear or anxiety, perhaps a warmth spreading, like joy or excitement.
Everyone's emotional vocabulary is unique physically, so just observe your signature for that feeling. Take a moment here. Feel your feet again. Maybe put your hands back on your chest and belly if that helps.
Just connect with your physical self.
Now, holding that feeling gently in your awareness, imagine it as your loyal companion. Ask it, silently or softly, what boundary were you asking me to honor? What truth were you encouraging me to speak or acknowledge? What part of me needed care and attention in that moment?
And just listen. Be patient with yourself and with the feeling. The messages can be whispers at first, especially if we're not used to listening in this way. It takes practice to learn their language.
Yeah, don't expect a loud, clear announcement necessarily. Just stay curious.
That curiosity is key. And as we start tuning in, one thing we often discover is that emotions rarely arrive neatly packaged, one at a time, with clear instructions.
Right. It's not usually just one dog at the door. Exactly. Often it feels more like a whole pack has shown up. You might feel anger and deep sadness simultaneously, or fear mixed with excitement about a new opportunity.
So what do you do then? Which one do you listen to?
The practice isn't necessarily about choosing one over the other. It's more about acknowledging all of them that are present. Like saying, okay, I see you, anger, and I see you too, sadness, and hello, fear. Giving each of them a little space without feeling like you have to pick a side or figure it all out immediately.
Just acknowledging the whole emotional landscape.
And recognizing, too, that the messages themselves can be murky sometimes. Like we talked about with fear, is this dog barking because there's a real threat outside, or because we're stepping onto the unfamiliar territory of growth?
Discerning that takes time.
It really does. Sitting with that uncertainty, that not knowing right away, is actually part of the practice. Resisting the urge to immediately label or fix it. And remembering how incredibly patient these emotional companions really are. They've often waited decades through our conditioning, through generations of families maybe not listening.
Wow. Yeah. Decades of programming.
They'll wait until we're ready to finally turn toward them and listen. They don't give up easily.
That brings up an important point, though. What if the feelings are just too intense? What if it doesn't feel like a loyal dog, but maybe more like, I don't know, a pack of wild wolves that feels dangerous to approach.
That's a crucial distinction, and thank you for raising it. When emotions feel overwhelming, persistently intense, disruptive to daily life, or unsafe to even approach when they feel like those wild wolves rather than guiding dogs, that is absolutely the time to seek professional support.
Right, a therapist, a counselor.
Exactly. Someone trained to help you build the capacity to safely be with those intense feelings, to understand their roots, and to integrate your messages without being consumed. There is absolutely no shame, zero shame, in needing that kind of backup. It's incredibly wise to seek help when the emotional intensity feels too big to handle alone.
That's such an important permission slip. Thank you. Okay, so with all this in mind, let's offer a practical challenge for this week. Choose one emotional companion, just one that's been visiting you lately. Maybe it's impatience, or worry, or frustration, or even a quiet melancholy.
Something that feels manageable to start with.
Yes, definitely start small. And this week, when you notice it arrive, instead of your usual reaction, maybe pushing it away, distracting yourself, or letting it completely take over, try the messenger's pause. Just for a moment. Breathe deeply. Feel your feet on the ground. Maybe place your hands on your chest and belly again.
That simple somatic check-in.
And then ask that gentle, curious question. Okay, hello feeling. What boundary or truth might want my attention here? What part of me needs a little care right now?
Keep it simple. Don't expect profound answers immediately.
Exactly. And maybe start practicing this pause in low-stakes situations first. You know, when a friend calls right as you sit down for dinner, or when a colleague interrupts you while you're trying to focus. Small moments.
Build the muscle gradually. This is about building capacity over months, maybe even years, not mastering it in a week.
Absolutely. And please remember, if you forget, if you fall back into old patterns, if you react automatically, that's not failure. That's just part of the practice. Your loyal companion will return, patient as ever, ready to deliver its message again when you're ready to listen. Just notice, be kind to yourself, and try again next time.
Beautifully put. And zooming out one last time, this whole approach, this way of relating to our emotions, really builds on everything we've explored about the pathway to sovereignty.
It suggests that our emotions aren't obstacles on the path.
They are the path.
Exactly. They are the faithful companions walking beside us, guiding us, sometimes nudging us quite insistently, towards our truest, most authentic selves.
So the question we leave you with today is this. The next time anger or sadness or fear or even that familiar resentment arrives at your inner door, will you automatically turn away? Or will you maybe, just maybe, pause? Kneel down metaphorically, meet its faithful eyes, and gently ask what it wants to show you. That's the invitation, really. To begin trusting the inherent wisdom of these loyal messengers. To welcome them, even the difficult ones, as teachers. And to allow your emotions, in their own timing, to guide you home.
Home to the person you have always been, underneath all the conditioning and coping mechanisms.
And to support you further on this journey, we do have that free resource we mentioned. Where am I on the staircase to sovereignty? It includes a somatic practice, a body-based exercise specifically designed to help you gently locate and begin to release emotions that might be held or stuck in your body. You can find the link for that in our show notes.
And if you're looking for more daily structured support in meeting your triggers with this kind of compassionate awareness, you might want to check out the guided journal, Your Path to Becoming Untriggered. It's available on Amazon.
That journal is really helpful for tracing the roots of recurring emotional patterns. Like, remember that parking lot scenario we started with?
Yeah, the car parked across 2 spots.
That intense flare of anger or frustration you might have felt. The journal helps you explore how that intensity often isn't just about the inconsiderate driver in that moment.
It's tapping into something older.
Very often, yes. That heat in your chest, that immediate reaction, it's your body, your loyal companion, recognizing an old pattern. An echo of past experiences where maybe you felt dismissed, overlooked, powerless, or like your space wasn't respected. Your companion is alerting you. Hey, remember this feeling. This old pain is asking for some attention, some resolution.
Wow. So the trigger is the doorway.
Precisely. And the journal provides prompts and practices to help you gently trace those connections, to understand what deeper wounds or unmet needs might be waiting underneath that immediate reaction, and to begin offering them the compassion and understanding they've been waiting for. It facilitates that gentle healing process.
That sounds incredibly valuable. We'll link to both the free resource and the journal in the show notes.
And just one final thought to hold as you explore all this. Please remember that this framework, these ideas, they're offered for reflection, for personal exploration. They are not and should not be seen as A replacement for professional mental health support when that's needed.
Absolutely. Trust your own inner knowing. If things feel too overwhelming, please reach out for qualified help. There's immense strength in seeking support.
Couldn't agree more. Be gentle with yourselves as you practice listening to your own faithful messengers.